Hey everybody, welcome to the overview of the accountability program. Know what you want and how to get it. We're going to start with, this is our model. We don't need to know the psychology behind it. We don't need to know why it works. We're going to be using it and we're going to follow it. This is our how. We need to know what's important. We're going to be able to act on those things that are important. We're going to keep track of what we're doing. And then we're going to have these meetings that allow us to be accountable to ourselves, but also to others as well. So let's have a look at what these weekly accountability meetings are. I'm going to call them WHAM, as that gives us that notion of waking up. Boom. I want to wham. It's that wonderful sound. It sounds like we're hitting ourselves or slapping ourselves in the face, or having a really cold shower that shakes us out of our unconsciousness of just being in the, not knowing where we're going and just doing whatever, to boom, okay, stay focused. Am I on track or am I off track? Here's our agenda for every single 30-minute session. It's going to have an individual report. For 2 to 3 minutes, you get to talk about your results, what your actual results were compared to your goal, weekly execution plan, what you plan to do next week, and also what a weekly reflection of what will you keep doing, stop doing, and start doing. We can have this more nuanced as well if you use the handouts that I provide. We're going to have a little bit of time, hopefully 1 to 2 minutes, for a little bit of feedback. I think the first few sessions are just going to be me giving feedback, and we'll just hear each person reporting. But if anyone has some feedback, we'll see how that goes, and also so we don't go too far over time. We'll have a little bit of a close and a wrap up at the end, and then we'll move on. That'll be at 30 minutes. Every one of you should have seen this from the first seminar, whether you attended the Wednesday or the Thursday session. Hopefully you gave it a go. This is what we're going to be working from. We're going to turn this and jump into it a little bit more detailed, but you definitely have that vision. That vision is going to be broken down into goals. And we're going to start with these goals as being complete results focused. What is the outcome? Not what you have to do, but what you want to achieve. For example, we're going to be using the format that they use in the 4 disciplines of execution, and it's something along these lines. It's going to be a little bit tricky because some of our things are a little bit off, but here's a few examples. The format is, I want to improve something from number to number. For example, I want to improve my test average from last year from 60% average on all my midterms and finals to 85%. I want to improve my sleep from 6 hours to 8 hours per day. And here's 2 that I threw in here just to really help you guys out, and that is looking at the idea of test anxiety and confidence. These are 2 things that students really want to improve and focus on and have a big impact on overall performance. So I want to show how we can actually give it an actual number or an outcome for that. And in something called motivational interviewing, they use 10-point scales. And this 10-point scale is really helpful as it allows us to know, first of all, where we are and also where we want to be. So in the case of test anxiety, this isn't, the format is to use improve. Here it's actually going to be lowering, because we don't want to make our test anxiety worse. We want to bring it down. So lowering my test anxiety by rating of my anxiety from 9 or 10 down to less than a 6 or below. I want to be able to lower that on that 10-point scale. That there would be a goal that I would have. I want to improve my confidence and my abilities at school by using the 10-point scale. Improve from 3 of confidence on a 10-point scale up to a 7 or higher. Now these are all whats. All of these questions, all of these statements beg a how. I want to improve my sleep from 6 to 8 hours per day. Okay, how are you going to do that? I want to improve my confidence from a feeling of 3 out of 10 for confidence up to a 7. Okay, how do you move up that scale? How do you go from a 3 to a 4? From 4 to a 5. That how is the next part. So these goals here are just our first part. We name all 3 of those outcomes, those results, and then for each result we put the goal back in. Each result we put there, we put the results in, and then we're going to go through and put down our tactics. So let's look at our tactics. You're going to have to brainstorm what are the best actions for you to be taking to achieve your goals. You don't know all of them. There's secrets out there. There's stuff that we don't know. There's stuff that I don't know. We're always going to be on the lookout. But we want to use the things, first of all, what we know works for us. In the meantime, as we start to learn from the online course, especially when it comes to academics and the psychology of learning. let's have a look at a couple of our examples. If we want to improve test scores, then one strategy is the retrieval strategy is essential, in my opinion. Using better learning strategies overall, replacing old ones with new ones that are more effective and efficient. So we can use these, but these aren't good enough for measurement. We have to create a measurement for them. So we have to brainstorm how can we measure something. So if we want to do the retrieval one, it would be write 15 questions per lecture to test myself daily, or write 1,000 questions. That could be a big one. Under improve my test score, maybe I write 1,000 questions. Let's do October 30th, those 1,000 questions. Okay, there's a good goal. I'm going to start that tomorrow, and it's going to end October 30th. Okay. It could be 15 questions per lecture daily, would be 15 questions per lecture daily, and this here would just be put daily. It would be due every day. So you could see that. We could put that down for that one. You could be even more specific and say which courses you want to put that down. And we have a couple of other examples there too. You have to pick the due date and the beginning dates that seem most applicable for you. Okay. Most of them, I think, are going to be things that we're going to be measuring on a weekly basis. But if it is a larger goal that you want to improve, then putting that day, putting the start time that you're going to start working on it, and the end time in there as well. But this is going to be brainstorming. These are going to be brainstorming. I've only put space in here for, I think it's 5 lines for each one, so 5 tactics, so 5 strategies you want to use to improve, to act out this goal, to bring this goal to fruition. If you want to improve your confidence from a 3 to a 4, you're going to have to find some strategies to do that. If you want to improve on your test anxiety, you're going to have to go into an online course, set aside some time to improve your test anxiety. Find out what are the couple of impacts. Maybe you're going to have to meet with the Fresh Start advisor. Maybe you have to meet with counseling clinical services. They could be, there's a ton of different ways that you're going to have to find out and figure out for yourself how to do that. If you meet with someone, a coach that can give you a little bit of feedback, that's going to cut your time in half. So that could be setting up an appointment. Could be one of the first things. If you want to improve your confidence, setting up an appointment. That could be one thing that you have to do, set up an appointment with this person on campus. Okay. Once we've done that, we want to have a scoreboard. Now, this scoreboard is tricky. This one here is pretty elaborate that I built over time for a student I worked with last year. I am pretty proud of it, but it backfired big time because it was just too much to look at. But when you're coming up with your scoreboard, you already have your goals. You already have the actions that are linked to achieving those goals. You already have a measurement now. Because of the last step, you need to track them, and this has to be as simple as possible. It has to be so simple. Limiting it to 1 page, it could be just a couple of rows, it could be down here. How you organize it is going to be up to you, but it has to be on 1 page. It has to be very basic, very, very simple design checklist. Very simple design and checklist. Take your goals, take your tactics, take those activities that you want to be doing on a weekly basis and turn them into a checklist. Turn it into a very simple checklist that allows you to check it off that you've done it that day or that week. And once we go through, the student here was able to, they had, I think, a total of, they did this for each of their classes, so we focused solely on academics. We didn't do anything outside of their life. They were an athlete, so they were still practicing. They were working as well. And they had another life goal that I can't quite recall. But we didn't put any of that on. We just focused solely on academics to bring them back up to their satisfactory academic standing. So we put these in. This was a generic one that we just modified a little bit for him to then put in all of his tasks. We found that for one class he had 11 things to do, so he had a score of 11. And in another class he had 18 things to do each week, and in another class he had, I think it was 11 again. 11 tasks that he had to complete. So overall, he had a score of something like 40 or 42 or whatever that may have been. And so each week he was able to give himself a score out of 40. So some weeks this very first week, he was pretty fired up. So he actually got like a 38 out of 40. The following week, he had a fight with his girlfriend or something like that, and so 2 days went out as he was trying to sort that out, and so he had a score of, I think it was like 18. But that there, we did the WAM, and he's able to get back on track and figure out where he's going to put his stuff back in his week, and he went back through and he picked a score up to a 26 or something along those lines. So we're able to keep those scores and keep track of what's most important while also reflecting. We have to schedule it. We love time blocking. You're already seeing this in the time management module. Putting in all the fixed tasks will show you when you can put in, when you actually have time for your other reviews. These things are the flexible parts. These are the things that it might change week to week, but you might find that you get into a routine that you're changing. Yes, you're changing this week to week for the first month, but once you get to November, you might have figured out, you know, this is kind of fixed here. This is the best time for me to do this tactic. This is the best time for me to do my readings. This is the best time for me to do my weekly assignments, to get everything done while also attending to all of the fixed activities that need to be done on a weekly basis. This is the secret. Having this allows you to see where you actually have your time and where you're spending your time, and it forces you to put these into focus, your most important things first. Then we need to see how the plan fell apart. Having that plan is going to be so much easier to implement, but we're also going to definitely fail. We're not going to stick to that plan completely at all. So we just need to go through and just say what was working, what was not working, and what do I need to do more of. So we put in here 5 columns. It is definitely starting off a little bit negative. What do I need to eliminate for each of these? So in academic goals, what do I need to stop doing? What do I need to do less of? What can I keep doing that's working really well for me? What do I need to do more of? And what do I need to start doing? I think this is mostly self-explanatory. I can do a quick example. Time management. What do I need to stop doing? I need to stop watching TV in the evenings, or I need to stop having naps in the afternoons. I need to go to bed earlier, or something along those lines. What do I need to keep doing that's working for my time management is creating a weekly schedule every single Sunday. What do I need to do more of? I need to do more reflection. I'm not reflecting enough. What do I need to start doing? It could be anything. Could be anything. Put myself on the spot. Those are the ideas. For you specifically, it's going to be much easier to come up with these because it's your life. You will then, having done those things before you show up, makes this 30 minutes very effective for all 5 people that are in the meeting. You show up, you get your 2 minutes, 3 minutes to report. You report your actual results from your scoreboard compared to what your goal was for the week. You then show us how you're adapting for the next week with your new weekly schedule, and you'll be able to give us that reflection. You can either do that reflection sheet or just answer the 3 basic questions and tell us what you've learned from that week. What are you going to keep doing that is really good for you? What are you going to stop doing? What are you going to start doing? Or you can be more nuanced. We'll give you a little bit of feedback. Once again, I'll be doing the feedback to start with, and then you guys can slowly start seeping in what you've been learning from your experience as well, and from everyone else from these meetings. That's where we're going to be doing it. Because of the size of the groups, we're going to keep it small, and we can't have a physical location, unfortunately, to come in and meet. So we're going to be doing this all online. Luckily, we all have access to G Suite. If you don't know that, that's the Google suite of programming. So everyone has this link to their UAlberta email address. So we have this thing called Google Meet. It's a part of the Google Chats, and it's going to be video conferencing. So once we figure out which appointment you're going to be in, which WAM session you're going to be attending, you're going to get an invite. You'll go to Google Calendar. It'll be in your Google Calendar or in your email. You'll click on the link to the meeting. It'll be here, and we'll all join in. It'll be me, and then we'll hand it off, and each person will get a chance to be in the front, and they'll all be talking, and we'll all be listening. We'll be able to chat and share our screen. You'll be able to chat and offer your feedback as well. You are going to need either your phone can do this. You can do this from your phone and Google Chat as well, from the video conferencing, no problem. And that'll give you your headphones and your microphone so you can participate, or you can do it from your laptop as well. So you just need to find a quiet place on campus after your class for whatever your session is, or if you're still at home, do it at home so that we can do it. Please be prepared that this isn't going to work well the first time, probably the first few times. I'm not sure. We're keeping this small, so I'm hoping that 4 people. It says that it's up to a max of 10 or 15 people for these meetings. So I'm guessing the technology is getting a little bit better. So hopefully it's not too glitchy. We won't get turned off. You're also having to learn how to use it, as none of you have probably used it before. And if you have, that's a benefit. If you haven't, then you're going to have a little bit of glitches to start with. Just be very prepared to speak for your 2 to 3 minutes to be able to report on your results, what your plan is for the future, and how you're planning to adapt in your reflection. That's it. This is where we're at. Keep this under 15 minutes. This is what it looks like. If this is for you, pick a time, and we'll start hopefully in early October.